Welcome to Northern BC Moments. I'm Jaden DeMello.
And I'm Sam Benison, and come on a journey as we look back on some of the lighthearted and fun stories of 2024.
Have you ever wanted to learn to play the guitar, but it's just too big? Well, the ukulele might just be for you. In our top story, Dave Branco shows just where you can learn it, and just because you made a story on the ukulele doesn't mean you can play it as well.
Over the past 2 years, the library has resonated with the ukulele sound. Bi-weekly, music enthusiasts and aspired ukulele players gather to strum and learn together.
It's a free registration. You can just come and drop in. And we have a big supply of ukuleles here at the library, and the youth can come in and sit down and connect with one another. And
around 12 people come together and jam and share their musical knowledge. For many, the significant takeaway is the opportunity to socialize while making music.
It is small, which is really nice for some people, harder for other people. There are also different sizes of the ukulele. This is kind of the size we have here at the library, but there's various sizes of ukulele, so if someone came and was interested in getting a ukulele, they could get a smaller one or a bigger one that suited their hands. But I mean, as we were talking about, the nice thing about the ukulele, it's very portable, it's very light.
The sound of the ukulele may strike a chord with many people. While some people may not appreciate its sound, other people appreciate its fun sound.
There's certainly controversial instruments that way. I mean, I play accordion and banjo, and there's lots of jokes about both of those. I mean, every instrument has its fans and people who don't like it, but I don't think it's gonna hurt you.
If you enjoy its distinct sound and are willing to explore various music styles, simply follow the melody to the library and join the complimentary jam session. Dave Branco, CKPG News.
Jaden, you were a little harsh on Dave Branco's ukulele playing. Maybe he's improved in the last year. Okay, maybe he should add it to his New Year's resolution list. Fortunately, there will be a 2025, thanks to some local high schoolers who stopped a zombie pandemic. Okay, not for real, but the Gene School Camp provided these students hands-on science experience as they worked to stop the end of the world. Tommy Osborne has more.
An interactive week-long summer science program is taking place at the UMBC labs, offering high school students a chance to use university lab equipment and immerse themselves in a week-long narrative. This camp gives students a chance to learn in a fun, unique way.
We get to do lots of hands-on stuff, and it's more unique than what I've done in like my science classes before. I mean, we do some experiments, but nothing as like complex as like this kind of stuff.
It's pretty different than like a classroom because the teachers are like mainly lecturing in the classroom, and it's just fun to experiment with stuff.
This camp was inspired by The Last of Us, as students are tasked with creating a vaccine for a fungi-based virus turning people into zombies. This is done by using university-level lab equipment, which is quite the opportunity for younger students who may not see this type of equipment in high school.
When I'm back in China, we don't have a chance to do this kind of lab. After I get here, I get lots of new skills. For example, doing DNA replication, learn how to use the microscope.
It's not just working with the high-class university equipment that's been fantastic for the students, though. They all agree the story-based element added to this camp really adds a lot to the immersion and the enjoyment.
It just makes it a lot more interesting, and it's just pretty fun. And it's like also kind of like scary that like that could actually maybe happen. But it's cool that we get to solve the mystery.
A lot of the time in high school, they learn a lot, they get a lot of good information, but it's hard sometimes for them to then wonder, okay, so why am I learning this? And I think having that narrative really helps with giving them the why as to why we're studying this or why we're learning about this.
Smith adds, beyond making learning fun and engaging, a huge benefit of the Gene School Summer Science program is showing students what type of work they'd be doing should they pursue science as a career.
They can start thinking about that, in grade 9 and wondering, what are the possibilities with what I can do if I'm given the tools to be able to do it.
The camp concludes on Friday, where students will present the results of their world-saving research. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
If you love movies or cosplaying as your favorite character, chances are you've been to or at least have heard of Northern FanCon. And this year was the 10th annual, with even Darth Vader making an appearance. But as Tommy Osborne reports, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
The 10th annual Northern FanCon returned to Prince George, and as usual, there was no shortage of fun to be had. With cosplayers, merchandise, and workshops galore, fans enjoyed a day full of fun and celebrating fandoms. The headliner of any con is the chance to meet celebrities, and among them this year was none other than Darth Vader himself.
I've played some gnarly characters over the past 20 years, and Darth Vader is the most iconic bad guy on silver screen. I was like, oh, I don't know about that, but then when I connected with the character and he took over me, I got it. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's the dark side.
Darth Vader is one of many characters Wilding brought to life, as he's also been in other famous movies like Harry Potter, Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman Begins, Dungeons & Dragons, and many more.
I'm a big kid inside as well, so getting to play the likes of Darth Vader and things like that, and it's just, it's great, and to connect with the presence and spirit of the character, it's just awesome, man, and taking direction off the directors and these massive productions, it's just, living the dream, you know what I mean, loving it.
While there was no shortage of cosplaying fans in attendance, there were also several famous cosplayers like Cos Sweetie, who has close to 85,000 TikTok followers.
I actually love this con. I was here last year as well, and so I was really glad when they reached out to invite me back because I had so much fun last year.
Being a famous cosplayer takes a lot of work, and Cos Sweetie explained it took years of making her own outfits before they got to the level we see today. While it's her full-time job now, it started out as just a hobby, and like many others who attend Northern FanCon, she just loves the chance to share her passion with other fans.
I have a huge love for anime and video games and different fandoms and characters, and I'm also I love visual arts, so I think for me combining the two is just kind of the dream, and just spreading a little bit of nerd love, I don't know, feeling like someone else for a minute.
Regarding the fans themselves, there's some pretty incredible outfits to be found there too.
The faces I get, the people that are just enjoying of the cosplay that I do, they're just the smiles, it's kind of something I like to see.
With the chance to check out some amazing merchandise like this Buster Sword, show off some of your cosplays, or meet some of your favorite actors from your favorite movies, or some professional cosplayers, Northern FanCon was, without a doubt, a memorable experience for all those that attended. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
Welcome back to Northern BC Moments. Prince George made a lot of strides in the sporting world this year, as one Olympian from Prince George went to the 2024 Summer Paralympics. Tommy Osborne takes us back to Joel Ewert's send-off party right before he went to Paris.
The 2024 Summer Paralympics is coming up in 2 weeks, and Prince George local Joel Ewert is representing Canada on the wheelchair rugby team.
Sometimes you're putting in work, not really knowing where it'll lead, but for it to end up with me at the Paralympics is really special, and I'm really excited to get things started.
Joel is flying to Paris on Friday, so a send-off party was hosted at Canada Games Plaza to wish him luck.
To see people come out, whether it was family members, friends, teachers, old coaches, or just members of the public to come out and send me off and put into perspective just how much, people really had to support me to get to this moment.
It takes a village with the child, and the villages come out to support them.
Yeah, and as Joel said, we really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to come and support him for this day too.
He has integrity. He is absolutely determined and hardworking. He's a great public speaker. He cares about his community. And here's what's impressive. Not only is he Paralympian, he is going to be a student at the Northern Medical Program right after he gets back from the Paralympics.
Joel has been part of the national team program since 2019 and has been working hard to make it to the top 12 to be named to the Team Canada wheelchair rugby roster.
You're always just waiting for that opportunity. I was waiting for the opportunity for a long time to crack that the top 12 on the roster, and I was kind of given that opportunity, and I've taken it and ran with it.
I remember meeting him for the first time, and he was just a little guy, I don't know, 6 years old perhaps. And but even then, you could see that he had a competitive spirit in him, and he wanted to play.
While the rugby is, of course, the main focus, Joel added he's excited to visit Paris, and more importantly, spend time with the team and meet other fellow Paralympians.
It's those times in the airports, those times hanging out with your team in the village, and playing card games and things like that. Those are the memories that you really hold on to.
The Paralympics will start on August 28th, with wheelchair rugby starting on August 29th. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
Well, Ewart was one of the big stories of the summer here in PG. Back in the springtime, there was only one thing that residents of Prince George cared about, and that was the Cougars. The Cats went on a historic playoff run as Cougar Mania took over this city. Anthony Correa brings us this report.
I just love Cougars. They know what they're doing, and they've been doing excellent this year. I just, hope they continue on.
I've got a game for Saturday night, and it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
That's just a few people in the city of Prince George who have their tickets for this weekend. The CN Center is expected to be packed Friday and Saturday, which is not only great for the organization, but even the city of Prince George.
We can talk about the direct benefit and people coming to the community for these playoff games, especially on the weekend and things like that. But I think the other thing that's great is it just kind of paints Prince George in a nice light. People are talking about Prince George kind of across the country because of the success of the Cougars. And that's a great opportunity for us to just highlight Prince George as a place to visit and, for people to move to or come check out.
And it's not just locally, as it seems communities from all over northern BC have got their tickets to see a Cougars playoff game. A hockey team that seems to be getting support from places like Williams Lake, Quesnel, Vanderhoof, and beyond.
We're definitely seeing it from surrounding area where people are coming into town to watch it. Obviously, we've got a really good team going this year, so the word's kind of gotten out and they're buying tickets here and making the trip to town, so it's really exciting to see.
It's expected to be standing room only for games 1 and 2, and if you do decide to come to the game or pick up tickets a little bit later, remember to wear your white. Anthony Correa, CKPG News.
Welcome back to Northern BC Moments. Our next story shows that even more homebrew talent is coming out of Prince George, as Billy Barker's great-grandson is soaring to new heights upon the top rope. Jaden DeMello gives us more on the prospector's recent journey to Montreal.
After 2 rounds against some of the best wrestlers in the country, the prospector Wes Barker is through to the finals of Jacques Rougeau's Lutte Academy.
Every round, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and now the finals, I've gone in with the mindset that this is the fight of my life. That there may never be another opportunity that could be bigger. Because if I win this thing, I've got $10,000. I've got a trip to Mexico to train and wrestle, a trip to Japan to train and wrestle. And from there, right, this could be the start of my career.
While Barker's wrestling career began just 2.5 years ago, his journey has been anything but easy.
This sport is not ballet, right? I have quite a few injuries from it, and it's not an easy lifestyle. Like, I'm on the road more than I'm at my own house. With all the struggle that comes with being a professional wrestler, like an opportunity like Jacques Rougeau's Lutte Academy, it really validates everything that I've put in.
Now on the national stage with an opportunity to skyrocket his career, the prospector attributes much of his success to his northern BC roots.
No matter where I end up, whether it be Alberta or Montreal, or if I win Lutte Academy, I'll end up in Japan and Mexico. I'm always a Prince George kid at heart. And the reason why I can get to those places and get myself into those positions to have those big fights is because I'm from here. I think that I go into the ring with more grit than someone who's not from here. I think I go into the ring tougher and with a better understanding of what it takes to win a fight because I'm from Prince George.
The work ethic instilled in Barker from growing up in the city has helped him reach a point that his younger self could only dream about.
To be put into conversations with people like Booker T in my training and Jacques Rougeau and Raymond Rougeau, to be put in conversations with those people, it's a childhood dream come true.
This Saturday in the Lutte Academy final in Montreal, the prospector will battle for a $10,000 prize and trips to Japan and Mexico to train and wrestle. Jaden Amello, CKPG News. If you thought the prospector was the first big thing in the ring from PG, well, think again, as Delta Dawn was performing decades ago on the world stage and just got her flowers this year in the form of a documentary. Tommy Osborne brings us more.
You're looking at Delta Dawn from Prince George, British Columbia.
Former professional wrestler Princess Delta Dawn of the Clé Pleatonné First Nation will be featured at the Vancouver International Film Festival this weekend in a documentary highlighting her career and her story of hope, resilience, and reconnecting with her culture.
When I started wrestling in Tokyo, my cultural aspect really came into focus for me, and I was able to really pull out this person that I've hid for so many years. It made me realize that there was a piece of me that was missing.
Princess Delta Dawn rose to fame in the 1980s and 90s as she became the first Indigenous woman wrestler and first Canadian woman wrestler to compete in Japan. She became a fan favorite with her flashy moves and personality as she proudly embraced her Clé Pleatonné roots. But it wasn't always that way, as she says wrestling was the vessel she used to rediscover who she was and her history.
When I was able to bring this out into the ring and really showcase my background and who I am, I was able to be who I wanted to be when I stepped into that ring, and I was able to be successful because of my culture and bringing that culture into the ring with me.
Dawn picks her up into the airplane spin.
She was inducted into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in 2018, which was a special moment not only for her own personal career, but also because she believes it will help Indigenous youth celebrate their culture and not have to rediscover their roots the same way she and many others did.
Part of their vision of why they were doing it is they were following that truth and reconciliation, and they were doing it in the power of reconciliation by honoring Indigenous youth and the successes that they are doing.
Look at this nice move by Delta Dawn.
With her documentary premiering this Saturday and Sunday in Vancouver, Dawn adds she's incredibly proud of her roots and can't wait to show everyone what our community is capable of. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
Welcome back to Northern BC Moments. And back in 1982, a Canadian cult classic movie was filmed here called Strange Brew. And in that same year, Kelly Olson began working here at this brewery, and he just retired this year. Dave Branco brings us the report.
A beer made without malted barley, basically. It had to be less than 25% malted barley, and the rest had to be just adjuncts like corn syrup.
Each can is a time capsule for brewmaster Kelly Olson, who has been a big part of the Pacific Western Brewing Company for the past 43 years. At the end of this summer, he stepped away from his craft.
My first day here was April of 1982, and I started sorting bottles down on the packaging line. There was stacks and stacks of bottles that were falling down and falling over, and we had to sort them all out, put them in boxes, and that was my first day. Scandal Lager and Scandal Ale. Those started off as Natureland Lager and Natureland Ale. Same beer, but different marketing.
Kelly's time with PWB has been more than just his role as a brewmaster.
Really nice beer.
He has been somewhat of a Swiss Army knife to the company.
You know how it is, you've been there for so long, you walk into a room and you hear a little noise, you know exactly what that is. You know how to diagnose, how to fix. Kelly could taste beer and identify issues with it before anybody else could figure it out. And he was teaching everybody here on how to do those things. So a lot of the knowledge base and everything that happens and the way it happens and how we fix things and what we put in all comes from Kelly.
From Strange Brew, Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Were you here?
Yes.
His true passion is brewing, where his skill and leadership secured his place in the brew house and left a mark on Prince George's hometown brewery.
I think one of my biggest things was the organic lager and the organic ale. There was nobody doing organics at that time, and we were one of the first organic brews. And then our organic ale actually won a gold medal in Munich at the World Brewing competition, so that was pretty exciting.
Kelly plans to move south to enjoy warmer temperatures, relax, and drink cold beer. Dave Branco, CKPG News.
Our next story takes us to open waters, where a local inventor created a solar panel with the potential to change maritime travel. Cheryl Jan reports.
Yeah, so about 1.3 millimeters thick. This doesn't have the vinyl coating on. This is just a straight marine coating.
That black square is a solar panel. Yeah, you heard it, a solar panel created for marine application, initially catamarans, created by local inventor and entrepreneur Simon Angus. It was the dream of an avid sailor to create an all-electric catamaran, and he did.
It sailed great, just an amazing sailing yacht, but it just wasn't all electric. We couldn't get enough power to drive the system, right? When we weren't sailing, the batteries were just too small. We weren't generating enough power.
Enter this prototype,
which basically is the very fragile solar cells fully encapsulated into a fiberglass composite laminate. And it basically protects those cells from damage. We can do any shape anybody wants. And it's the maximum efficiency because we use the best cells on the market.
It has all the elements of a traditional solar panel, but it's lighter and, more importantly, it's way tougher. And it is just the beginning for Open Water's design and manufacturing.
The world is switching hybrid. The sort of all of the high net worth people who have these yachts, that they all need to show that they are being more environmentally friendly.
The work caught the eye of the province, which has provided nearly $500,000 in funding to help build a plant to make these panels.
And so they're looking at using this new technology in maritime applications, and the province is making a grant available to them to help them expand this work. And I understand as well that that's going to create 20 full-time jobs.
He plans to use the provincial funding to build a 7,000 square foot plant where the company can go from generating 250 watts a day to the equivalent of 12 kilowatts a day.
So the production facility that we will be building in Prince George, it'll be part lab, part robotics sort of system. We'll be using robots and machinery to automate the entire production.
Simon Angus says the applications potentially are endless. Take this reefer trailer, for example. Throw solar panels on the top to generate enough power to keep the contents cool, pulling 20,000 litres of diesel out of the airshed in North America alone every year. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Thank you so much for joining us for Northern BC Moments.
Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it, and have a wonderful new year.